There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Louis B. Free Radio Show, Brain Food from the Heartland. I am delighted to have returning to the show, Delcianna J. I am delighted. I should say attorney, right? Geez, I didn't even attorney.
And professor.
And professor. It makes me think of a scene in an old British comedy where we'll do it another time. I'm gonna trail off here again, Delcy. So yeah, professor and lawyer. I asked you this before, but tell me your path, if you will, to where you are.
My path.
Yeah, like a little. Why did you go to law school, if you don't mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So like most kids, I loved animals. I don't think that's particularly remarkable. I think most people love animals, honestly. But I had a traumatic experience when I was about 14 years old, when two pigs who I had raised from babies, bottle fed, had them in my bedroom and then the backyard, and they were pets. And they were unexpectedly slaughtered. That was never the plan. Insofar as I was told, it was not part of a 4-H program. And that really set me on a path to reading everything I could about factory farming and animal rights. And I became an animal advocate then and there. I like to think it would have happened sooner or later, and that just expedited it. But that was a pivotal moment. And then law school obviously was some years later. And that was after deciding that because I like to argue and research and write, law was a good pathway for my advocacy. So I went to law school specifically to do animal law, even though I was told by many people, including my own mentors, that that was not a real thing, that that was not a field, that that was not a viable pathway. But here I am.
But you helped create that as a viable pathway.
I did. I stand on some amazing shoulders, but I like to think I helped machete a wider path for more students.
Well, I'm not saying this to be argumentative, but it's not that you'd like to think. I mean, I understand your humility, Elsie, honestly, and I respect that. Yet it's the fact that you have.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're doing it. Thank you. And today you do at Vermont. Today you are you tell it.
What I'm doing now today?
Yeah. Well, no.
What am I not?
What you're at the Animal Law and Policy Institute.
Yes. So I am now at Vermont Law and Graduate School, which is a new development. We were just Vermont Law School, and as part of our strategic plan, we are now Vermont Law and Graduate School. And also as part of our strategic plan, we're expanding our animal law offering. So Vermont Law School has been a leader in the animal law space. We actually had one of the very first animal law classes in the world. Stephen Wise, who's now with the Non-Human Rights Project, taught an animal law course here and in I want to say starting in the 90s, and continued to do so for many years. And we have some incredible animal law alumni, but we never had a centralized program until I was brought on to create that about a year ago. And so I've now created, with an incredible associate director, Laura Ireland, by my side, the Animal Law and Policy Institute. And we're doing a million things.
Well, and I've got so many questions on that to talk more about how you develop the classes, but the courses. But some of the million things, because when I was reading about all the things you're doing, it's just, I don't know, I'm not picking the right words to say, overwhelming. It's so vast that it's like trying to okay, which ones do I want to focus on? And then I would mark on my paper this and this, and no, I've got to do this one and this one. So
you see how I feel every day.
But you're doing it, and it's incredible. It's fine. By the way, I have to tell you that a dear friend of mine sent me an article, and it was in the New York Times. I'm not sure when. Stop mocking vegans. They're right about ethics and the environment. If you won't join them, at least respect their effort to build a sustainable future. And
I love that.
He's the one. I'll forward it to you. He's the one that teases me like endlessly. And but he's a dear.
So has he stopped?
No, he said when he sent it to me and he said, mock on. I'm going to mock on. So yeah, but he does it, Delcy, honestly, he does it I know how he feels about me. He's he's a dear friend. So it's okay when he does it. When other people hear it, if other people hear what he said, they like cringe. But I know it's met with
but I mean,
lovingly.
I think the truth might be that he's uncomfortable with some of the choices he's making.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Absolutely. Because you'll see when I talk with him about it, he'll understand it, because we get into the environmental aspect.
Yep.
And to me, the one thing we can all do, that's the one thing we can all do. And I'm going on, I talk about this a lot, but tell us something.
It's important.
It is very important. It's like, for me, Delcy, don't talk with me about climate change, global warming, the environment, unless you're doing what you can do individually. So but some of the things you're working on.
So it's so much. So I'm inevitably going to forget some things, probably some things I even told you I wanted to talk about. So feel free to nudge me and remind me. But some of the things I'm most excited about, we are, thanks to some generous funding, launching next week a farmed animal advocacy clinic, which is going to give students an opportunity to do hands-on work with real-life clients on behalf of farmed animals and farmed animal advocates. And it's just one of the most valuable forms of learning how to do law and policy work. I've had, I taught a clinic at Lewis and Clark Law School, and I've just had so many students say, this is when it all came into place. It all clicked finally. I understand how the everything I've been reading and hearing actually plays out, and gives them the confidence to go out into the world and do this work. So I'm very excited. We recruited Professor Laura Fox, who was a senior staff attorney doing farm animal work for the Humane Society of the United States, and also a fellow in Harvard's Animal Law and Policy program. And she's an alum of Vermont Law School. And so she has returned to run the Farmed Animal Advocacy Clinic. So that's one big thing that I'm super excited about. And we are starting next week.
Wow. That's again, that's fantastic. And again, when I look at the list of things, I don't want to just roll over that, but some of the other things you're working on, because that's huge.
Yeah, that's a big one. And
you're very busy. You are very busy, Delcianna, right? I mean,
I am very busy. I'm ridiculously busy. I'm grateful to my associate director, who I wouldn't be able to do this all with, but I am hoping we can expand our team, because the student interest, prospective students, current students, is immense. The support of my colleagues is amazing. And I think there's a lot more we can do if we can continue to expand the program. But we're doing a ton right now, just with our little team.
Believe me, when I was looking at the list of things, I needed to take a nap after I read them. I was exhausted.
So do you want me to just move on to another one?
Please.
Okay. Well, another one that I'm super excited about, and we're actually going to be doing a big announcement in a couple weeks or few weeks, but I'm happy to share it now, is a brand new master's degree program, a Master of Animal Protection Policy program. And Vermont Law School has long had policy master's degrees. We have a Master's of Environmental Law and Policy program right now, and I'm actually working with some students in that program who are committed to animal law. So that we have policy students doing this already, but to really create a policy master's degree within a law school that is entirely focused on animal protection is huge. And I'm so excited about it. And it's going to serve a number of different populations. And one is people who want to do advocacy that is in the policy realm, but don't necessarily need a law degree. They don't need 3 years of law school and 3 years of debt. They can do this in 1 year, and they'll be able to do it either residentially or entirely online, or they could do a combination. So we're going to reach people who, maybe can't just pick up their lives and move. And it's really geared towards them. Yeah.
That's incredible. So they'll actually get a master's. They can, in this new program, they can do it in a year, and they can do it obviously in person or I'm repeating what you said, or online.
Or online, and online on their own schedules, because we recognize that people are working, they have family commitments. So this is specifically tailored so that people can do it around their other obligations and still get the degree and still be learning from leaders in the field and learning in a way that's really tailored to a policy student. That's not just saying, oh yeah, you can sit in on a law class. You can do that also if you want to, absolutely. But we're also developing new courses that are specifically geared at policy students.
I mean, that sounds, again, the work overwhelming. You can't, it's not as if you could get a plan from someone else and kind of modify it for yours. It's not like there's a textbook out there that you can, I mean, this is all
it's new.
Creative,
it's new.
just fantastic.
Yeah.
They can come in for the master's with any bachelor's degree?
Yes, any bachelor's degree.
You know what I'm thinking?
Yes.
Maybe
please.
I'm too old. Yeah, maybe.
No, never too old. Louis, I want you in it. I'm going to be looking for your name.
I just, wow, that would be, it may take longer than a year for me.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. And we have, I mean, one of the things, and I don't even think I put this in my notes for you, we have this incredible summer program at Vermont Law and Graduate School. So, most law and graduate schools are during the school year and then they kind of shut down for the summer. We are very vibrant during the summer, and we have a lot of animal law classes. And just this past summer, we had, I believe, 5 different animal law classes that we were offering, and they range from 3 weeks long to weekend intensives. We had a weekend intensive on undercover investigations, which was incredible. Wow. And so that's something that, maybe you're doing the master's online, but you're able to come to Vermont, which is glorious in the summer, for a weekend or for 2 weeks. And so you can supplement. And my dog has a lot to say about that. Sorry.
We're going to be able to see your dog later on the screen.
Sure. I can show you her now since she's here.
Okay. I know listeners freak out when I do this, but I'm going to take a picture and I will post them later also if my picture comes out well.
Okay.
Listeners always get very upset with me. Some, because it's like they can't see the dog.
Let me see. Lovey, come.
Lovey's coming?
She's coming.
I was going to say probably maybe won't when you want.
There she is. You're going to see my messy office too. But this is Lovey. And I think we talked about her before. She's the one I found outside a truck stop while we were taking Nosy the elephant to the elephant sanctuary.
Yeah. It's interesting because, and I understand it's not probably, I would be frustrated too if I was listening, audio, and they kept talking about, there's a lady that started the Rebel Rescue Ranch in not far from where I am. She came in the other day with 2 rabbits. And of course, and I was over-focused on the rabbits and kept talking about them, and people were emailing me, okay, I can't see the rabbits. Okay.
Well, they're lost, really.
Yeah. When thinking about some of the things yesterday, I had Daniel Payton, VP at
I love Dan Payton.
He was on with me
together
just yesterday about the beagles. They undercover, and they were able to close it down. People heard it yesterday. They can listen to it online, but they able to close it down. And incredible work. The undercover. When you talk about the undercover, it's something that I am so grateful that there are people that can do that. I think if I were doing that, I would either be freaking out physically there or rocking in a corner and crying. Yeah. Seriously. I mean, so I'm so grateful that people are able to.
Me too. 100%. Yeah.
Teaching that. One more thing, Delcy, there was something on the national news last night about the beagles, yet they focused on, the only focus was that Meghan Markle adopted one of them.
I saw that.
It was like, and they said nothing about how it happened, nothing about how what was going on. They touched on it, but that was the only thing. I was so disappointed. Okay.
Yeah, because what a great opportunity to reach a broader audience.
Yes. And it's fine that they, had her as the hook, if you will, but talk a little bit about how it got closed down and what was going on. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I actually want to, I'm glad you mentioned Envigo, because there's another connection to our summer program in addition to the undercover investigation.
Sorry,
Envigo was they are still, unfortunately, they have quite a few facilities and only the one was at issue. But in our summer program, we have amazing guest professors. And so the director of environmental crimes for the Department of Justice is one of our summer faculty. And the main civil animal lawyer within the Department of Justice, because they have a new animal section, well, not a full section, but they have a program doing animal cases, who has been working on the Envigo cases, was the guest lecturer in my summer class this summer. She couldn't talk about Envigo, of course, because it was unfolding, but she talked about some of the other groundbreaking cases she has brought, including against Jeff Lowe of Tiger King infamy, who I spent many years of my life trying to take down, along with my amazing colleagues at the PETA Foundation. And she's shut down some really horrific dog breeders. And so one of the things I love about our summer program is that students get to come and learn from these people who are actually doing this groundbreaking work.
That's fascinating. And doing that and teaching that in the program, teaching different things, developing the courses. So got this all made for this new groundbreaking master's degree. Yeah.
And another potential audience for the master's degree is someone who's thinking, maybe I want to go to law school, but I'm not sure, because it's a big decision, a big commitment. And so we have a lot of students who come in and do a master's and then decide. I had two actually animal students in that situation. One decided, yes, I'm going to law school. She's starting next week. The other decided no, and she's on the job market. And they're both doing great work. And it's a way for you to decide, like, figure out your goals and if this is going to serve you, if it's worth the time and money. And you can also do it in combination with a law degree. We have a lot of students who do that. So you're getting the full traditional law degree. You can do the animal law concentration, which we also offer, but then you can do some more in-depth animal law and policy work as well.
That's fantastic, Delcianna. That's fantastic. And that makes a lot of sense. If somebody makes the commitment to go to law school and kind of finds out partway in, after spending a lot of money, doing a lot of work, taking the test, kind of in it. You know better than I, because I've never been to law school. But from what lawyers that I know told me, I mean, it's rigorous, I guess.
It's very rigorous.
Just one of the words. And if you're in it, it's difficult there might be difficulty saying, yeah, this isn't for me, after you've spent X amount of dollars for, let's say, the first year or whatever. And you can figure out where to from there, but you can do this master's program and you still have the master's. You own the master's and decide if you want to go to law school. That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
And another group, I know we want to talk about more than the master's, so I'll stop after that. But
that's fantastic, Delcianna.
We also get some students who are already practicing lawyers. Maybe they've been practicing for years and they decide, you know what, I want to do something totally different. So we have some students who are like, you know what, maybe I want to switch my practice to animal law, and they can come do the master's as well. And that helps them build the relationships and knowledge to facilitate that transition.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking with professor and attorney. What do you do? Is it attorney first? It's professor first, right?
Professor first.
Yeah,
that was hard to get.
Professor and attorney.
Not that attorney was easy, but professor was harder.
I literally can't imagine the work involved with that. So what are some of the other projects, Delcy?
So some of the other projects include some more specific things we're doing. So one of the things I love about being at Vermont Law and Graduate School is that we have so many amazing established programs working on various environmental issues. So we have the Center for Agriculture and Food Systems, the U.S.A Partnerships for the Environment, Institute for Energy and the Environment, and I can go on and on. And they're so collaborative. So a lot of places you'll go and folks are very siloed. They're like, energy is the most important thing. I'm only working on energy and I don't want to talk to you or compete with you for funding. Not the case at Vermont Law and Graduate School. Everyone is so collaborative and excited to work together. So we're working with all of these programs and more, restorative justice, on collaborations, and we're recognizing the amazing synergies across our areas of expertise and the intersections. And of course, the students recognize that. And so I think for a student to be able to come to an institution where you're not being told like you need to pick animal law or energy, you can actually explore those robust connections. And so in that vein, we're working with the Center for Agriculture and Food Systems on a project to look at what policy initiatives we can propose to facilitate dairy farmers who are struggling for so many reasons to transition to plant-based agriculture.
I've got it circled on my notes. Go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, dairy farmers are in a really bad situation. They are struggling. They are largely being propped up by the government, but still struggling. Dairy farming is, a lot of folks don't realize that, in order for a cow to produce milk, she needs to be impregnated. And then you need to do something with the baby who that milk was intended for. So the veal industry is a byproduct of the dairy industry, but in Vermont, that's not even cost effective in some situations. So they're simply shooting the male calves. So there's certainly an animal welfare component of this, and environmental, of course. Cows emit methane, and methane's impacts on climate warming are 25 times greater than carbon dioxide. And so we're trying to look at this holistically and not just put these people out of business and with nothing to do, but look at this really critical moment we're in and facilitate a transition that's going to serve everybody, the farmers, the workers, the animals, the environment, and look at what can the government be doing to support that transition. So that's one of many collaborations we're working on that I'm really excited about.
And Delcy, that's fantastic because I am in awe of all the some companies that have transitioned. I always go back to the, what was the Just Mayo, Hellman's Best Foods. Correct me if I got this wrong. Sued and said that you can't use mayo because it's not mayonnaise because it had that. They lost, and I love this about Best Foods and Hellman's. So they said, okay, we'll create a vegan mayo. I mean, that's and I just think that's fantastic. And think about those and companies. Of course, they still have their regular, cruel mayo. But when you think about some of the things that do in the companies, I get a newsletter every day, 5 days a week, every weekday, that has new vegan companies and new they're making a vegan spam.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's wild. And the fact that you can have a newsletter 5 days a week with new startups and other companies that don't want to say necessarily transitioning, but adding products and researching just blows my mind. It's a new world.
It is. It truly is. And it's to the point now where there are these alternatives now where I never had the traditional version of the thing. There's so many products out there, but also I love lentils and chickpeas, and there's so many things too without even all that stuff.
I don't need a lot of products because they're still processed a lot. Yeah. Some are better. Yeah. I'm the same with you. I love lentils, and I could eat lentils in different forms every day. Yeah.
Yes.
Chickpeas, same thing, chickpeas. And the chickpea pasta, I know we're off top, but chickpea pasta, I don't know if you've probably had it.
The bonza. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Yeah. And I can make this relevant for us. I'll bring it back.
Thank you, Delcy.
Yeah. Although first I'll note, I mean, I think it's important to remember, I think this is another thing we lose sight of. Most of the world has been eating mostly plants for most of time. And so, I mean, chickpeas and lentils every day is what a lot of parts of the world still do. But one of the things that I'm working on, and another one I don't think I included in my list for you, is working with our food service folks at Vermont Law and Graduate School to increase our plant-based options. We're a leading environmental school now with a growing animal law program. And so students and faculty and staff want to see food offerings that reflect those values and less meat and dairy because of their impacts on animals and the environment. And so the law school's leadership has been really supportive of what we're calling flipping the script and making plant-based options sort of the default. And so I've been working with our cafe folks on increasing the plant-based options, making the animal products what you need to seek out and add on if you really want it. But if you're not thinking about it, which a lot of us aren't, you're just going in and grabbing something, plants are going to be the forward option. And then our environmental law programs are going to be entirely plant-based. And so I'm grateful to be getting support from organizations like Greener by Default and the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine's Universal Meals Program. I just had a call with Chef Dustin in that program, and he's going to be a great help to us. So it does relate to the work.
That's fantastic. And when you mentioned that about lentils and beans, legumes, whatever, it was interesting because a number of years ago, the Blue Zones, Dan Buettner was on with me, and his books have been about where people live the longest, healthiest lives.
Okay, yeah.
The one thing he said, and you can find it online, videos, about the one commonality in the blue zones around the world is beans, that everyone, and again, inexpensive, loaded with fiber, good fiber, loaded with protein. And I know at the early stages of the pandemic, when I'd go to a store and people were loading up on toilet paper, and I bought toilet paper also. I didn't want to run. I appreciate the luxury of toilet paper, truly. Yet there are alternatives if you're in I used to hitchhike a lot. There are things you can do. Without anything more descriptive. If you don't have food, if you're not eating something you're not defecating, so you won't need toilet paper, right? But for me, I bought a lot of dried beans, a lot of lentils, etc. Just we didn't know where things were going. And those will keep for years. On the shelf. So
great emergency preparedness food.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking with Professor and Attorney Delcianna Winders, and you're listening to Louis B. Free Radio Show, Brain Food from the Heartland. That transition, just back to it for a minute, frustration with dairy farmers and what, they see certain things that looking down the line, what are they going to do? How are they going to add the plant-based dairy, whatever they're doing, and to be able to give them support and help. That's part of the issue that I have with some folks. They want to tell you've got to be vegan. That's not a way to embrace. Maybe you offer some ideas. Maybe you can suggest, when the Meatless Mondays first came out, Delcy, I thought, well, either do it or don't. And then I thought, because when I went vegetarian when I was in high school 52 years ago, wow, I am really old. It's weird when I even say it, but I decided, and that was it. I made a decision. I know the day. I can't remember the day 20-some years ago when I went vegan, but when I went vegetarian, that was the way. That was my path. That's not everybody's path.
Right, exactly.
And at least on the Meatless Monday, at least for the environment, for the animal cruelty. If they're doing it, and maybe they'll find a recipe. Yeah, well, I had that on Monday, but Thursday, I'm going to make that again. It was really good. So I'm all in for that. And the dairy farmers, with the help to transition, the word, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's support, because where would they get it? How would they do it? What do they know?
Yeah. And there's some of the organizations, Mercy for Animals, Animal Outlook, Farm Sanctuary, are doing really great work working with individual farmers to facilitate these transitions. And what we're hoping to add to the amazing work they're doing is broader policy level proposals, so that we don't have to do this one by one for farmers, but we can say, like, look, here's a whole government program that's going to help a large swath of people, because there are a lot of dairy farmers who are struggling out there.
I love that. I was totally unaware of that. I'm totally unaware of most of the things that you're doing, but this again, to support the dairy farmers that want to transition to plant-based agriculture is fantastic. What else is going on?
So another one, which I didn't put on the list, is we, in the Animal Law and Policy Institute, we're working with the U.S.-Asia Partnership for the Environment at Vermont Law and Graduate School. And we did a symposium with them this past school year on wildlife and welfare, which was targeted at an international audience, primarily in China and in the US. So we had simultaneous translation in Chinese and English, and really building bridges across folks in China who are trying to improve situations for animals, and in the US. And we just got a grant from the embassy to Beijing, US Embassy to Beijing, to do an event this coming school year on factory farming specifically, which I'm so excited about, because of course China is, has a burgeoning factory farming industry. And if we can talk with folks who are doing really important work on the ground there about the ways that we went wrong in regulating or failing to regulate this industry for the environment, for animals, and learn from what they're doing as advocates there, I think there's just tremendous potential. So that's another one I'm very excited about.
That's again fantastic. My question: what do you do in your spare time? Your answer would be
sleep.
There's no spare time. Sleep. Yeah. And probably when you go to sleep, you're thinking about. Yeah. Do you have a little pad next to your bed that you write?
I send myself notes on my phone. I send myself email. I wake up and send an email.
See, that's a much better method than I have.
I don't know that I don't know. No,
that's good. I think that's great. Send them to yourself, and I either write them on my hand. I do.
Yeah.
I've done that.
I used to do that.
Yeah. And how did you transition away from it?
By getting a phone, I think.
See, and I've had the phone, but I still. My thought is, and I've said this a lot on the show, people always want to give me a piece of paper to write down. They'll see me writing on my hand. I said, thank you. But
then you lose the paper.
Well, first I have to remember that I have a note.
Yeah.
Then it's like, where did I put it? This way, before I get in the shower in the evening, it's like, wait a minute, I got to write that. Yeah. The problem was during the pandemic, with everybody using the antibacterial liquid.
Yeah, the hand sanitizer.
Yeah, hand sanitizer. It would smear, and that was so I had another method. But again, with all these ideas and creating, Delcy, all of these projects and continuing to, I don't want to ask, where do you see it going? It's going to continue to evolve from what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And because we see that's where things are, that's where things are going. That's where things are going. More awareness, again, with the undercover investigations, more awareness, more information out there, and for health, for environment, for the cruelty aspect. So you've got students coming through that are going to be actually educated, where they can work in their area that they choose with degrees, with knowledge.
Yeah. We are training future animal advocates, and The interest, like you said, is immense. We had an event for prospective animal law students in last school year, by which I mean just a couple of months ago, because we're heading into a new school year next week. And we had well over 100 people register. The young people, and I mean people younger than me,
That's
are
really young for me.
the babies. They give me so much hope. They get it. They see the intersections. They want to be at an institution like Vermont Law and Graduate School that sees that environmental law and animal law are synergistic and work on all of that common ground. And so we're here to support them. I mean, our primary goals in the Animal Law and Policy Institute are to train future animal advocacy leaders and center animals in the fight for environmental protection and environmental justice. And so we're sort of here to support the students in what they want their pathways to be. And because animal law is so broad, that means supporting them, whether they're interested in working in animal shelter issues, marine mammal issues, captive wildlife, factory farming, whatever it may be. You know, we have some programs that we have strengths in already. We're going to continue to expand. But whatever interest within animal law and policy a student has, we're going to help them carve that pathway for themselves.
That's, again, who knows where it's going to go. It's going to get broader and broader. How do I form this question? You're at the center of this at Vermont School. Do you see other universities, going to build on the foundation that you've laid for these programs?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's some schools that have been leading the charge. So Lewis and Clark Law School, where I was recruited from, has, the most established animal law program. And there is ample space for multiple animal law programs. Each program has its own unique strengths and characteristics, but there are enough students with these interests to support programs at many schools, more than already exist. Harvard has the Brooks McCormick Animal Law and Policy Institute, and I was their first fellow actually when they started several years ago. Yale has a program. Oklahoma City University Law School, if I'm getting the name right, they're starting an animal law class. I'm teaching an animal class for Toledo Law. So there's ample opportunity. And also, one of the things that we do at Vermont Law and Graduate School is we do relationships with schools to have dual degrees. So maybe you're getting your law degree at, say, Salon Law School. I have a student who's doing that right now. You can also do a master's degree at Vermont Law School. And we have that built in with a number of schools, and we're looking to expand those relationships so that students who are at a law school that maybe doesn't have much in the way of animal law right now can still get the animal law experience. And we also have relationships with undergraduate institutions to make it easier for students to enroll. So we have an agreement with Wesleyan, for example, where if students meet certain GPA and other minimal criteria, they're assured admission to Vermont Law School. And a colleague of mine, Professor Elon Abril, is part of an animal studies program at Wesleyan. So that's one of the schools that we're trying to bridge. They're working on the undergraduate side, and we're on the graduate end.
That's fantastic. We see it's going and expanding. And this may be an odd question, but how does it feel for you? I know you feel very deeply. And as always, I appreciate, as hard as it must be, to talk about that traumatic experience that you had. I was going to say when you were younger. And how does it's got to be very, if I can use the expression, soul satisfying to see this.
It truly, truly is. It is so rewarding, and it makes me hopeful. I mean, we live in really challenging times. Things are really polarized. We're in the midst of a climate crisis. We're consuming more animals than ever before per capita, yet I'm hopeful. And the reason I'm hopeful is because these programs are growing and young people are making the connections and they're going out there and fighting, and they're refusing to buy the lines that industry and the government agencies working at the behest of industry are trying to feed them. And they're just dismantling these oppressive systems.
And again, very soul satisfying for you, very heartening to do, and to be at the forefront of this, and the changes that you have led, the changes that you have made. Again, that master's program blows me away on so many levels, and you'll keep me posted on that, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So,
and I have to say, part of what's most satisfying is that now I get to help other people be at the forefront, and so I get to put these rows and rows of new generations in front of me, and just to know that there's so many of us doing this work, that we're not alone, is also really satisfying, and I think critical to being able to do it for the long haul.
And I've gotten to know you over the years, and it's certainly, as you can hear, folks, it's not an ego thing with Delcy. And by the way, even if it was, as long as it's going in the right direction, yeah. But I know you well enough. You're very humble. You're very modest about all the accomplishments that you have made and continue to. And I love that. And I'm so glad that we're able to catch up again. Delcy, I know you're obviously you're very busy. Obviously, you're very, very busy. Professor and attorney Delcianna Winders, and you again, Animal Law and Policy Institute, Vermont Law and Graduate School. It's just fantastic, and all the things you're doing. So you'll do the gig with me. You'll suffer my madness.
Anytime, Louie. Anytime.
Thank you so much. Truly.
Thank you.
Folks, again, we've got links up by, and it's so important. It's so vitally important, the work that Delcy's done. And you